Welcome to Look Up Aurora, and today we're going to talk about SpaceX.
It's really out of this world.
First, our night sky. So it's December, it's getting dark really early, so there's lots of time to look up. My favorite constellation in the winter is always Orion. It's pretty big and easy to spot because you have 3 stars right in a row.
So one of the most exciting things that's happened lately is Crew Demo 2, which is actually the first time that we have had astronauts launch off from America since 2011, which I think is really cool.
Yeah, it's been a long time coming. In fact, I remember sitting with our then 1-year-old watching the last flight of Atlantis, and then we got to watch it with him, this launch with him again, and yeah, it's been too long.
Now, there have been Americans on the International Space Station, which is the abbreviation ISS stands for International Space Station. If they weren't leaving from America, how did they get there?
They've been thumbing a ride on old Soyuz out of Russia.
So all the astronauts have actually had to fly to Russia before they could even get up to the International Space Station, which is just crazy to think about.
It also means they have to learn Russian, they have to learn how the Soyuz works. It's pretty intensive and a long time away from their families while they're trying to learn how to use the spacecraft.
And so that all happened on May, was when they launched on May 30th, and then they were able to dock with the ISS on May 31st, a day later.
Our first 2 astronauts to leave since a long time was Bob and Doug.
Bob and Doug.
Easy to remember. They only flew 2 astronauts this time. It was a demo mission, so we wanted to reduce risk in case something bad happened. I think it can carry up to 7, but I think NASA only wants them to fly 4.
And so when we say demo, I'm sure most of you guys get that this was really just kind of a test mission to prove that we could put people in one of the Dragon spacecrafts and safely get them from the ground to the ISS and come back.
In fact, they were only supposed to stay for a few days originally. They were just going to come up, say hi, and then leave. And then they did some more training, and I think they stayed for like 2 weeks.
Which is pretty cool if you think about it. Now, Bob and Doug were not the only ones on the Dragon that day. As you guys can see, that is Tremor. He was chosen by Bob and Doug's sons. Every time the astronauts go in, they try to use some sort of a 0G indicator so that they can, we're in 0G, and you can kind of like physically see it. And so that is Tremor. And Tremor actually is a real toy that you could buy, but they completely sold out after he had his Out of This World space debut.
Well, that's really cool. After demo, we get Crew 1 mission. This is the first NASA contracted mission to a private company to launch people to space. Again, took off from American soil, and it just happened November 17th. They launched on the 15th, and they got there on the 17th. It takes a while to catch up to the space station. Soyuz, on some very rare occasions, can get there in 6 hours, but the stars truly have to align to get that to work. And they flew in the Crew Dragon, and they named it Resilience.
And this was actually the start of a 6-month operation aboard the ISS. So all the astronauts will be staying for 6 months to conduct experiments and do work for NASA for 6 months.
And Dragon Resilience will be on station for 6 months as well. So they have to keep the spacecraft running for 6 months and then safely land it. So for Crew 1, this time we got 4 astronauts. We have 3 Americans and 1 from Japan.
And there's also something really cool about this crew as well. We have our first African American on the ISS, right?
Yes, the first African American to participate in a full expedition.
Which is really awesome. And again, we had someone else besides the astronauts on the Dragon. We had the child from The Mandalorian, which we are just completely obsessed over. I don't know about you guys, but so obsessed. And so they had, everyone kind of jokingly calls him Baby Yoda, right? But he's, known as the child, and they used the child as kind of their 0G indicator. And from what I was reading online, it sounds like they may have kind of snuck the child in, that they didn't necessarily make him like NASA official. They just sort of surprised everybody, with the child, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, he kind of sneaks in there. He probably ate some of their food too.
And so the cool thing is that the child will actually get to stay at the ISS for 6 months too, with all of the astronauts. And everybody was super excited to see him when he got to the ISS. And you guys can look that up online. There's some really cool footage of the astronauts interacting with the child.
Now, because they flew this on SpaceX, they're going to sell out of those too, right? That's the only reason why they're going to sell out?
Yes, the only reason. Not popular at all. And so again, Mike Hopkins was like, why Baby Yoda? Why Baby Yoda? And he says, when you see him, it's hard not to smile, isn't it? It just seems super appropriate to bring something that brings so much joy to people. And to the crew as well. They also have a lot of Star Wars fans on the crew, of course, which is not surprising at all. And they just really wanted to have a lot of fun. So, may the force be with them.
I can just imagine seeing like the live feeds from the station and just like a little Baby Yoda floating across the screen.
This kind of goes all the way back, this tradition of having these 0-1 indicators goes all the way back to Yuri Gagarin.
Oh, wow.
Which is pretty cool, all the way back to 1961. And so he is a Russian cosmonaut. Tell us a little bit more about Yuri.
He was the first cosmonaut, and the first person to leave our Earth. One of the fun things is he didn't land in a spacecraft. He got to jump out and parachute down on his own.
And we talk about him in one of our previous Look Up Auroras as well. And so Yuri Gagarin carried a small doll with him when he went up into space. So like I said, indicators have been around since 1961. They've been homemade dolls, they've been commercial toys, kind of a whole bunch of different things. And this is actually the Baby Yoda, or the child, was the third such kind of 0G indicator, because the SpaceX Demo 1, which is before Bob and Doug, the manless kind of demo that went up, they had a plush doll of planet Earth called Buddy. Buddy also sold completely out.
Yeah, they don't even have the original version of Buddy. They made a different version, which I don't like as much because I really wanted a Buddy. He's really cute. One of the popular things you might see, and I know I've seen it in a couple movies, is like candy or like Skittles. Like they'll throw them up in the air and they'll float.
But it's really cool because the crews actually get to have a say. It's not something that NASA says like, you're taking this thing up. They get to actually pick what it is that they take with them. So if you guys get a chance, put down in the comments what you think would be super cool to take up with you. So I would love to do a Space Snoopy. You guys have seen Space Snoopy, right? I love Space Snoopy.
I'd want to do Totoro.
Oh, Totoro would be so cute. Totoro.
And so all of SpaceX's work is brought to you by their founder, Elon Musk. He's a very, very, very inspirational person. He really drives their companies. They work really hard to do what they want to do. If you want to find out a lot more about him, you can read this biography by Ashley Vance. We've got it as a book, an e-audio book, and an ebook on Hoopla. The other book to check out is Space Barons, and it talks about Elon Musk, but it also talks about Virgin Galactic and some of these other brand new space companies.
And you've read the Elon Musk book, right?
Yes.
And you really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it really kind of gets you into the mind of Elon Musk. He's just one of those people who says, well, that doesn't make any sense. That's too hard. It must be simpler. And then he does his homework, and he's right. He's just a really, really interesting person to read about.
Yeah, I can remember you kind of like little snippets and tidbits and telling me things kind of along the way about them. They couldn't find the part they needed, and so they just built it, which I thought was really cool. So definitely check that out at your local Aurora Public Library. Keep
looking up Aurora. There's a lot of apps you can use to help overlay what you're actually seeing and see the night sky in a different way with your phone.
And like Michael said earlier, this is a really good time to do it because it does get dark so early right now, coming up to the winter solstice.
Can't wait for it to start getting light again. I'm
Yes.
not going to lie. I love the stars, but I want some light back.
And next time when you guys tune in, we're going to have a really cool session where we talk about NORAD.
Ooh, awesome.
Yeah. And Santa. All right. Keep looking up, Aurora.
Bye.